Today we're going to take some time and go over my boat. Many of you are probably familiar. I run a Rockproof. It's based off of the River Rocket model. This is actually my fourth Rockproof that I've owned. And I basically want to go over the boat and kind of explain to you how I put them together, like the different options and stuff that I get, you know, what's worked for me, what, you know, maybe what I like, what I don't like. So I guess let's just kind of start up front here. Trolling motor. I love having a spot lock trolling motor. I have an Altera. I think I'm actually going to do a video just on trolling motors, but we'll just say I have an Altera on this boat, Minn Kota Altera. It's a 112 thrust. For river fishing, you are probably going to want to get a 112, a 36 volt system. You're not necessarily going to be running it on 100% all day, but it's just nice to have the thrust there when you need it. So I run an Altera. There's a couple different spot lock options. You know, you have an Altera, you have a Tarova, you have an Ultrex, and then there's other players getting into the game as well. I'm going to save the rest of the trolling motor talk for another video. But anyhow, moving down the boat, this is the layout that I've gone with, where I have the two angled hatches. I've had this same layout since my first Rockproof that I built back in we built back in 2013. It works, you know. I like it because you can lay your rods here and you don't have to worry about anything getting crunched. You know, when you open and close the hatches, your rods are out of the way. You also, for all my hatches, I get basically dry storage, where it has a gutter so it collects rain. If you're getting a boat like this, you do not want to be dealing with, especially a high-end boat like this, and I'd really like to see all these boats go standard with dry storage eventually. You don't want to get a high-dollar boat like this and put a bunch of tackle and stuff in these boxes, and then it rains or you wash your boat and everything gets soaked. So dry storage is a must. There's no reason why. For a fishing boat, you're going to want dry storage. Next, we'll move down into this cockpit area. You see, I have my rod boxes in the floor of this boat, and I don't have any rods in there right now, but the way I set it up, I have these rod holders. I got these at Bass Pro. There's little foam inserts right there I had to cut out, but anyhow, I got one up front, one in the back. I also have some of the EVA flooring back here, basically to keep my reels and stuff from getting all rashed up. I'm kind of a tackle junkie. I have high-end stuff, and I don't want my fishing tackle getting all, you know, I just don't want the boat rash, so I'll try and do everything I can to prevent that. So having those, you know, the rod holders and having that flooring down in there definitely helps keep the rash off my reels, and keeps the rods up off the aluminum and everything like that. Again, dry storage the whole way around that. It's not perfectly dry, but it's better than just having all the water from the deck splash down in there. I would never want one of these boats without dry storage. Cup holders, they usually end up being lure collectors, but it's nice to have cup holders. Moving back through here, you know, you see I have more storage here, dry storage. This is a live well. I believe it's a 40-gallon live well. There's nothing too special about that. Some people, you know, when they build a boat, they decide maybe they don't want a live well. They don't think they're going to be storing anything in it. I would say get it. It's going to help if you get one of these boats and, you know, in a couple years you decide you want to build another one, having that live well is going to help your resale value. I don't fish with live bait, and I don't keep fish a whole lot, but every now and then I do fish in a tournament. So you got to have the live well. It's got a good recirculation pump and a good intake. That is a very good live well system. Moving around the boat, I've always had Minn Kota talons on. I'll probably do a separate video just talking about these talons, but it's nice to have shallow water anchors on, you know, on your boat. You use them at the boat ramps, you use them in different situations. Every now and then I have to take them to the shop to get works on them. When they're not on the boat, I definitely do miss them. Moving around, you'll see this is another must. If you're gonna buy one of these boats to, you know, run it around and beat it off of rocks and stuff like that, you're gonna want to beef up, I do at least, put gussets on the trim tab. See, basically what happens, and what I found with my first boat, this trim tab is extra beefed up on this boat. If you're drifting down the river backwards and you drift into a rock and you crack that trim tab, the trim tab's gonna bend up. If you bend it up and, you know, enough going across the boat, well, let's say you just bend it up on one side and not the other, then you're gonna have to counter steer against your bent up trim tab. Eventually you'll probably bend both sides up and the boat's gonna start to porpoise. You know, as you open it up and you go towards wide open throttle. If your boat is porpoising, running up, you know, bouncing up and down, that's the first thing you wanna look at, is that trim tab. So in the case of it porpoising, you're gonna wanna really get some kind of jaw, even if you have like a big adjustable wrench or something, and put it over that trim tab and just tune down on it. And just try and make sure, don't go crazy with it, and you don't wanna go back and forth a whole lot because you're gonna weaken that tab. But just make sure it's even the whole way across. And that's the first thing you're really gonna wanna do to correct a porpoising boat. Moving around, you can see we got a Gajo bait sticker. That's good for about 10 horsepower, maybe a mile an hour. I should say I have tread plate. This is something we started doing on the second one of these boats that I built, putting tread plate up here on the gunnel rail. It's not necessarily something I would recommend doing, but in the case of, you know, jumping from, you know, the rear deck to the front deck to the rear, it is nice to have that tread plate. I will put one step on here. If you do it, just be careful. I didn't recommend it, but I do it. Do as I say, not as I do. And I guess we can talk about flooring. I've always had some sort of EVA style flooring on my boats. Really, I use C-Deck for the first 4, and the C-Deck, I don't have any personal problem with it. The only thing I would say is, the only thing I've seen is you don't, like with the C-Deck, when they route the logos in, you see how that's peeling up? It'll start to delaminate. That's a little bit of an issue. I'm actually installing flooring like this currently on boats. I'm doing it for Rockproof, and I'm also doing it for myself. People have asked me why I've decided to go with Aqua Traction instead of C-Deck, and I have no problems with this product. The issue, basically the reason I went with Aqua Traction and not this, is the Aqua Traction is cheaper, and the customer service, basically the company's easier to deal with. They have faster turnaround times. But I don't have anything bad to say about this product, other than if you do get something like this, you're not going to want to get logos routed in. You'd want to get them laser etched because they do start to peel. There's a whole bunch of different options out there. Most of them are very similar. I just decided to go with Aqua Traction because of the customer service, the turnaround time, and the price. But anyhow, we'll move around. I have, for a graph, I have a Humminbird. It's a Helix 10, and I had a custom mount made. You can see I didn't go with a ram mount, but I had a custom mount made by Rockproof to mount that graph on, and I really do like that. If you're interested in something like that, maybe talk to him. You'll see all these pipes that I have mounted on the boat. This is actually a camera holder. They're not rod holders. I guess maybe you could use them as a rod holder, but I put the gimbal for my camera in there. Just, you could put a shotgun in there maybe, or a big pistol, whatever. But I also have these little, this is something I had made, you know, little plastic storage boxes. I used the double-sided tape to stick them on there. My batteries for this boat, it's locked. And that's something else I should mention. If you're building one of these boats, I would request all locking hatches. Every single one of the hatches, you know, whether whether you keep it in your garage or not, you know, you might go on a road trip at some point. You're going to want locking hatches. At least I wanted locking hatches. That's a no-brainer in my book. Locking hatches. What was I talking? Oh, batteries. Batteries and my charger are up front in this box. That's for the trolling motor. And that's with the Mercury setup. From what I understand with the newer boats, with the Rotexes, guys are, because that motor's so much lighter, guys are actually moving the trolling motor batteries to the back of the boat. I'm not up on that 100%, but I just wanted to mention that, you know, my batteries, this rod or this box setup, you know, I'll touch on it again. It just works perfect, you know, having these boxes on the angle, having the batteries up front. You know, it works so well. If you look at other jet boat manufacturers that I would say have been inspired by Rockproof, they've kind of adopted this design, and it really does. It works great. It's a good setup. I have something else. I have a recessed trolling motor pedal tray mounted in this boat, but I have a filler plate. You know, if you're building one of these things, it's a good idea to get that recessed trolling motor tray. The reason I have the blank in there is this pedal doesn't fit in here right. But a 4-Trex pedal or an all-Trex pedal, or I believe the pedals from the new competing trolling motors, they will fit in that. That's pretty much a standard cutout. I just have this blank in here to fill that void, and I just set that pedal up on top of it. But you know, down the road, if I ever sell the boat, whatever, guys want that. Guys want that recessed trolling motor pedal tray. What else can we talk about here?
You want to open the engine compartment?
Yeah, we'll open the engine compartment. It's kind of a mess back here, but we'll touch on this for a minute. This is my cultivator rake. You could have a stomp grate or you could have one of these. This is a heck of a lot cheaper, and stomp grates, I know the Rotexes come standard with them now, but I just never wanted to deal with having one installed. If I have something get clogged up or whatever, I'll basically lay on this platform on my stomach and hang off the back. Sometimes you have to get your arms in the water, but just clean it out. It's amazing. That grate can basically get halfway clogged with debris, material, whatever. And this boat, it might not run 100%, but it'll run good enough to get you back, you know, to the trailer, get on plane. You just, you know, when you punch it, you'll feel it slip a little bit. But that grate can really be, you know, 50% clogged up, and you'll still be able to get on plane. You'll be able to get back to the trailer. So if you do get a big, you know, all kinds of stuff lodged in there, you can usually free up enough of it with this to, you know, to get yourself back. Cultivator rake, you just get these at any, you know, I guess like Home Depot, Lowe's, hardware store. What else can we talk about? I am gonna have follow-up videos, like I said, where we kind of talk about the talons. I'll talk about the jet pump on this setup. There's different performance stuff you can get for the jet pump. Companies like Maverick and Exact Welding. I've had parts from both those companies, different liners and stators. Basically, these are wear item parts that you could get. You're going to wear them out eventually. You run the boat, you run gravel and stuff through the pump. You're going to have to either buy new factory parts or get these parts rebuilt, and I definitely recommend getting them rebuilt, because you'll get them stronger than you could actually get them from the factory. I'll probably make a whole nother video on that, just talking about the jet pump and my experience with these really two different main player companies. Moving around, we're probably going to get this one wrapped up, but really I just wanted to, there's two more things I want to show you. Basically, these are little touches. The more, you know, when you having a bunch of these boats built, I like to have a line holder built right into the boat. If you see this, there's a line holder down there. I keep you keep a box spool. I got Seaguar line. You got to spool your reels up. It's right there. Something else you'll want, everybody throws stuff up on their dash. If you walk around here, you'll see I have this stock aluminum bar welded in up here, and I had this done before the boat was finished. When you punch, if you're sitting up here and you punch it, you go to get on plane, you don't want your stuff sliding off the dash. So that helps. You could put some, EVA flooring or whatever up there also, but this definitely helps. It's absolutely better than nothing. So this layout, it really does work great for me. The things you want to go for, you definitely want the the latches that are the hatches that have the gutters built into them. Dry storage. You want dry storage. I want dry storage, at least. Maybe you're different, but just another tandem axle trailer. This is my first one of these boats, Rockproof, where I've had a tandem axle trailer, and I do really like that tandem axle trailer better. You can feel it just going down the highway. It's just a smoother tow. The trailer has less flex in it. I never had any major problems with, a trailer, but one of the upsides to this is if you would have a blowout, on a long road trip or whatever, you should be able to, maybe even, I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but one of the things I thought of is if you have a blowout on one of your wheels, at least you could take that wheel off and you could get to where you're going by even having 3 wheels on a trailer, even if it's just going down to a gas station or going to some kind of repair shop to get it fixed. You'll be able to get to where you're going. If you don't want to deal, you'll be able to get to somewhere to have it, patched up. That was one of my main reasons for doing it, but getting a tandem axle trailer on this deal. This trailer is powder coated. This is something that I don't think Rockproof offers at the time, but at this time, but it's a black powder coat. I do like that. The theme obviously here is all black everything. Got the black boat, black trailer. I got a blacked out truck. I will say the one thing about black is, as everybody knows, it's hard to keep clean. So if you see me going down the highway, my stuff is usually always dirty. Just it's a lot to keep up on. I don't know if I would do. This will probably be the last black jet boat that I build, just because it's such a pain in the butt to keep clean. If you kept it in a garage every night and your hobby was cleaning your boat, it wouldn't be such of a big deal. It's nice to have a beefed up winch. We're gonna cut this off right here because we got a train coming. But stay tuned, I'm gonna have a video on trolling motor, talons, and pump. Thanks for watching, guys.